48-hour art check, round 151,
That's right.
Kickstarter Countdown Edition. All right, here we are.
Yes.
We are here, and I am going to I'm going to pull up the browser. So we've got about an hour left on the Kickstarter, is what's going on right now. And so for those of you that are unaware of what is, no, don't go there. That's not where I want you to go. For those of you that are unaware of what's going on, we have a Kickstarter, and that Kickstarter is not going to pull up on the screen for a minute or two.
Well, while it's loading, I can just say, like, you can go to the 100 Days of Making comics.com / Josh K and check out that Kickstarter. That's just okay. Did it load up yet?
Not yet. But if you want to get an awesome book, just look in the description of this video, because that's easier than typing it in. And Josh is saying it wrong anyway. So there we go. Now, is that going to work?
Did it get there?
There we go. Yeah, so we have $5,279 and 158 backers, and about an hour left. So now is the time to pledge, increase your pledge, tell your friends, go outside, scream it on the rooftops or in the streets or in the valleys or wherever you happen to be. But we're gonna do an art check, but we'll probably come back to this and check on the progress, because I think it's gone up just in the last few minutes since I looked at it. So.
Yes, our operators are standing by, you guys. So let's make this happen.
All right, and we've got Squatchy and Scott Green and Ronnie Gunter in the chats. How's everybody doing? Okay, so should we jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, what have you gotten done in the last little bit?
So I actually feel like I got quite a bit done. I'm almost done with the inking of the page, and I think I had given you the wrong thumbnail. So
I'll just take that down then.
But anyhow, I've actually finished inking like half of the page. So in this case, since I think I gave you the wrong thumbnail, I'll just show it. But it's right here. Boom. So I'm like halfway there. So I just have this side to work on, and then I'll be done, which is kind of exciting. So, yeah. So like that was kind of a beast, but we had a really good art casters last night, and I managed to knock out like a little more than I was estimating, which is one of the reasons I love doing that. So yeah, so that was it. What about you? What'd you get knocked out?
I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest, but I'm still working on this guy that Scott did. And you'll see, like, one of the challenges is that everything's fine until you realize that his hat is not a normal shape. And so I actually had to animate 6 different objects. I had to animate the paths as he turns his head in 4 different directions. And so like the shapes warp through time as based on where his head turns. That was mainly what I got done. And then you see, like, some of this, I can't remember if I've talked about it or not, but you see, like, the papers are rustling, the ears are in front of or behind the head based on, like, where they're turning, the eyes move independently of the head. So some of that. I've got 2 different states for the wheel, so like that he can drive towards us and drive away. That's kind of where I'm at.
It's really impressive, I think so. And that's a lot of work, man.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying not to downplay it. I'm at that stage where, given a few days, I'll be excited about it. But right now, I'm still in the midst of all the problems that I'm trying to solve, and so that's like the biggest thing in my head is all the stuff that isn't working right now.
Yeah, and of course you'll notice every little thing that like the average person isn't gonna really pick up.
Right.
So
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of what
thus
we're
the
doing.
nature of the nature of creativity. It's like
Right.
so you'd be like, "That's a nice drawing," and you're like, "Really, really?" Because like there's a
Let me tell you. Let me tell you everything that is wrong with this. How dare you compliment me?
yeah.
So, what what challenges have you been overcoming?
Just time. So I have 2 gigs this weekend, and then we're ramping up at my work, and there's just typical kind of challenges that come along with art direction, like kind of amping up because the whole workflow is ramping up, and then traffic as well has been a massive challenge because for some reason on the 14 for the last like few days, people have decided to just have massive collisions.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, so it's just like, which is weird to say, but you would think like, oh, like that's going to discourage people from driving really stupid, but it actually works in the reverse where people are like getting stuck in traffic and they're like screw it and they like hit the gas like when we're at a dead stop like that kind of um yeah, so I've been dealing
Yeah.
with that for the last few days too, and then that puts the whole schedule behind. So it's like kind of normal types of problems, but very very hard to find that window. And even today when I got home, like I wasn't able to hit the comic. I just was exhausted, so I took a little power nap. So I'll be doing that after the art check, but that's been the challenge is just trying to kind of like overcome that and still kind of maintain my daily thing of like trying to do exercise every day and do my art. That's really, I mean, it's funny. It's like it's you get in the flow of it, and you'll have weeks where it's just like it comes really easy, and then weeks where literally every day, everything on the planet wants you to not work on your thing. Um, and so that's been kind of my struggle. But at the same time, like I don't think it's like unique to me. I think it's just kind of like it's not an abnormally hard week. It's just amazing how there are some weeks where I guess like we're both fans of like the war of art, and it's definitely been one
Yeah.
of those weeks where resistance has been ramping up, and I'm like, just go away, make me like allow me to work on my stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah. So that's been my main struggle this week. Just little things that add up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's nothing serious. It's just the tiny little stuff. Um, my I think my struggle is and my challenge has just been like staying in this state of mind for so long. Um, it's just it's a ton of problem solving because I'm rigging things.
Yeah.
And that's that. We've had super weird weather as well. So like it seems like the other day it was like 70 in the morning, and so like I rode my motorcycle to work, and then there's like a tornado warning and like diagonal hail, like sleet storm that happened like as I was riding home with like standing water on the roads and everything, which is harder to do on two wheels. And so it's just weird stuff, where I like get home and I have to like change all of my clothes, including underwear, just because I'm like that wet because I like didn't have any gear with me because I wasn't because there wasn't a cloud in the sky. That has literally
Yeah.
happened 3 or 4 days. Like in the past couple weeks, like 3 or 4 days a week has been like right before I leave for home. It's like torrential downpour, so it's been like really weird. Still doing the Mr. Mom thing. Yeah, just normal stuff. Maddox is going through that pruning phase where he's like forgetting that he knows how to like sleep and has a schedule, and so like there's been a couple nights where he like just wakes up at 9 o'clock, like, well, that was a fun nap. It's like, no, that wasn't a nap, dude. You're like asleep for the night. Like, go back to bed. So then I've got to like hang out with him again and try to get him to go back to bed. And so it just kind of just a bunch of little weird stuff. Figure out, make sure the cats are fine if they get caught out in a hailstorm, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
I was actually going to ask, like, so when does the kind of the extra dad work you're having to do, like, when does that wrap up? That's pretty soon, right? I mean, you guys
yeah.
at
So
the end of
tonight
that.
is the dress. It's Thursday. Tonight's the dress rehearsal. Tomorrow's opening night. I think it plays for a week or a week and a half or something. So it should be a week from now. I
Should be
should be,
wrapped up a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. So yep,
That's good. Okay. That's not too bad. You're just at the last end of that struggle.
yeah,
I gotta watch with saying struggle though, because there's a very famous person who used the word "my struggle," and so I should be saying
yeah,
challenge or something else. It's I don't think either of us would want to be associated
no,
with the other.
yeah. And it's like it's been fun. It's not like it's I think when we're talking challenges, it's not. It's mainly just a time consuming thing. I don't think either of
Yeah,
us. I know we both understand this. I don't think
yeah,
either of us would like begrudge time with our kids. It's just we're just talking about from a production standpoint the time that it takes.
yeah.
But yeah,
Finding windows is like this weird kind of challenge. Like I don't know, it's almost like a video game where you're just trying to defeat the boss, and defeating the boss is just finding a window of time. And
right.
there's some days where the levels just seem like, come on, this boss has got to be beatable.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
and
got to be
like
a
with it's awesome because like with my wife, like I've got this huge client project that I'm working on. And so it's not like a personal project where I can just be like, oh, I'll just do it for an hour
yeah,
tonight instead of like 3 hours. But it's like no, I need 3 to 5 hours. And so my wife has been awesome like during the day, like prepping the kids to be like, hey, Dad's gonna hang out with you for a bit, and you guys are gonna get to play. But when he says go to bed, it's important that you do. And so like my daughter's been like really good. She's normally kind of negotiating or whatever, but
yeah,
stuff like that. And then like Saturday, I'm like, I need all day Saturday, and she's gone all day because she's got the play. Like there's a matinee, and then there's one in the evening, and so like she arranges for like a friend to watch the kids for a little bit of the time, so I can at least get a couple hours in during the day before she gets home. And so there's like it's like that kind of. It's nice to have a spouse that like understands and isn't just like, oh, why are you being all selfish? And it's like, oh yeah, this is important. Let's figure this out. And so yeah, it's good. So anyway,
right.
Ronnie's got a moped, and he says he's been caught out in the rain or sleet or hail many times. And yeah, anything on two wheels, man. That's if you've only ridden in cars and trucks and vans and stuff, you have no idea.
Yeah. And I think for those of my personality that are like, I am a very risk averse person when it comes to driving, and to me, that's one of those like, yes, I'm glad I have never been there. Like, I don't know. The two wheel driving is a whole. I mean, I'm sure it's exhilarating though.
I'll tell you what,
So
though, in California, lane sharing is legal,
mhm.
and so you wouldn't have a traffic problem. Everybody else would have a traffic problem, but you can just split
Oh yeah.
split the lanes, and you're good to go.
Although in California, people also don't look before changing lanes, so
Right.
that's something to keep in mind and maybe mix those two. Like, it's not necessarily the best mix. But no, you're right. And gas. I mean, gas prices.
Right.
My sister was in Florida like last week, and she just shared. Like, she sent me a message, and it's just a picture of the gas prices and how ridiculously low they are. And they were like $2 and something, and here, they're close to like $5. So
Yeah.
driving a motorcycle probably saves a ton of money on gas
Yeah.
too.
I fill up just as often. It's just my tank is like 2 gallons rather than 20 or 30 gallons,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
amazing.
travel the same distance, so it's pretty good.
Yeah,
So
efficiency. Plus, the end of the world, you're gonna look a lot cooler. with here.
Yeah.
Um, should we get into kind of the
Plans?
plan?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what are your plans?
So I am playing two rock shows this weekend. So on Saturday, there's an all-day event called No Pants Fest, and there's 17 bands. It's at the Trap, which is a dive bar, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It is like a complete dive, just out in the Antelope Valley kind of biker bar. And but the weird thing is the back of this. It's a really unique place because like the whole back of the bar, like they have all this property outside that they converted into like an old ghost town.
Hmm.
um, and that's where all the bands are playing in like a giant ghost town kind of stage, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so if you're local to like Southern California or something, it might be a fun thing to do on a Saturday. I think the event starts at like 2, and I think the cover is like $10 for 17 bands, and I think that might cover food. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. But yeah, it should be fun, and I think it'll go into the late hours or possibly early hours. So, and then the next day we have another gig. That's more of a private gig, so I'm not sure how much I can share of that, but I will share it if I can. So,
Cool.
so yeah.
That's great.
Huh. And then other than that, like I definitely want to get some headway on this comic. So I'm gonna try to get, if not finished, at least close to finished by the next art check. I'd like to have that happen. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Your plan?
I will be done with this animation. So that's
Yes.
whether I sleep or not, because that's the due date. So I have we talked to the client and we're cool with doing a background to kind of like help track movement. So that's what I've been doing for like the last hour is building a background that will scroll by so that we can get like some movement. And then I've got to remake the tire because I want some more motion in the tire. It's I don't have enough turn out of it the way I animated it, and so I'm going to re-rig that so that I can get a fuller turn. And then I will do. There's a close-up shot at the end where he blinks, and so I still have to kind of rig up the eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's all I have to do, and then I can just animate the scene. He says, as if that's going to be a simple thing. So I have the scene, and so I'll animate that, and I've done a couple test runs, and I don't like where it is just yet. I'm sure I'll get there, and I that's some of the things that I've like. That's why I do test runs. Is like I don't really like how that looks, so I'm gonna add in some stuff. I'll animate a little bit of dust that he kicks up with his wheel as he's traveling, a few things like that. So that should, yeah. So I'm hoping to wrap that up Saturday night. Um, that's my plan. So we'll see how tonight and tomorrow goes as far as that goes. But I will be done before we meet again on Art Check. So
that, that sounds really exciting, and it's a lot of work, a heavy amount of work on that. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
cool.
for sure.
That's pretty good. I think you'll feel fulfilled once you're done, and then maybe 2 days after when you've caught up on sleep.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
We have $5,309 on
Yeah.
Kickstarter, and we are at 159 backers with 29 minutes to go.
All
And
right.
so I kind of want to say, if we get to, I wonder if we can get to 200 backers in the next 27 minutes.
That
Be
would be pretty interesting.
yeah. If we
Yeah.
do,
So if you're watching and you haven't backed yet, this is the time because realize like in 27 minutes, that's it. Like that book is no longer available. And it's a pretty killer book. So 28 comic creators, all doing their own story about werewolves, unicorns, or in the case of like Cory and I and some others, like other mythical creatures. And they're all really super good stories. We've talked about them ad nauseum on here. So yeah, if you guys haven't pulled the trigger and backed it, now is the time. And if you're rewatching this, might be too late. You might have missed your opportunity, unless you already backed it. And in that case, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Do you want to do a short topic? We didn't
Yeah.
discuss topic. There's a lot of really good ones from the last chat on Monday, but I don't know if any of those were really shorter.
Well, we can try. We can try to test our limits of
Brevity.
brevity. We
Okay,
can
what's
we Kickstarter as our counter. And if
yeah.
the Kickstarter's up before we're done with the topic, we'll have to wrap the topic.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, so what do you want to talk about?
Oh, I have no idea. That's the tough part. Um, let's see. What did we start kind of cracking open last time? Because we were also a little sleepy, but it was an interesting can of worms.
Yeah, it was. We touched on a number of things all around kind of getting an art job. So getting a
Mm,
job that you're able to do art. So we talked about different ways to network, different ways to kind of
yes.
subvert the online systems, things that you need to do for your portfolio. Though I feel like we just kind of brushed over portfolio.
Yeah.
Um, so that,
Let's
that,
get
that
in.
was get into what the
Uh,
portfolio.
yeah, if you want. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it. Um, Yeah, and I'll lean pretty heavily on your opinion here. Maybe I'll interview you on this one because I feel like my portfolio is only a couple years old, so I don't have like the depth that you have to pull from. And then
Yeah.
when I was hiring for graphic design and photography and video, it wasn't specific. I never really hired illustrators, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested in that. So today's topic is portfolios and how to use them to get a job. And so, a little bit of quick background on Scott and I. Scott is currently, a little quick background on Josh and I. Josh is currently an art director for a company that runs an art team. And so he's got graphic designers and illustrators that work for him. I have previously been marketing director and art director for several different companies that did themed environments, and then B2B and B2C kind of advertising and marketing stuff. And so we've both gone through hiring and using portfolios to hire. And currently, in my position as faculty, I often end up on hiring committees where we are looking at people's kind of CVs and resumes, and occasionally, depending on the job, their portfolio or body of work. If they're coming from an industry experience or they're from an academic experience, and so that's kind of where we are as far as I just say that because sometimes it's kind of annoying to hear people give advice on the internet, and you're like, okay, well, who are you? And so, not to say that everything that we're going to say tonight is like the gospel truth, because I think situations change and things differ and whatever. But just so you know, like we're not just people that are just making this up or recycling other things that we've heard other people say. So
Yeah.
this is kind of coming from experience.
Yeah. I think in the case of anytime you're dipping into talking about a portfolio or whatever, you're going to hear things that are repeated by multiple creatives because they're true. So,
Yeah,
there's
right.
that too. Like some of this stuff might sound cliche. Um, and I would actually say as we get into it too, catch yourself like because I find myself doing this all the time when I get good advice going, yeah, but catch yourself at that. Like
Yeah,
try to catch yourself when you go, yeah, but, and then really like objectively analyze your own portfolio, because that, I think as we're getting into it, I think that would be one of the core first steps is to like step back, look at your own body of work, like everything you have. If you're fresh out of school, you're probably not going to have a ton to pick from. If you're new to the industry and you're fresh into like doing it a certain style and you're trying to change gears on your portfolio to that, probably not going to have a lot to pick from. So that might be an easier problem than like, let's say you're 10 years in and you're having to wade through, a decade of work. Um, but regardless, like step back, kind of analyze like objectively. And I would say like if you're struggling with that objectivity, have someone like more people than like your mom or or someone like, and not that, because some people, maybe their mom is the most critical person in their life and like is super honest about everything. Maybe that is exactly who you should show it to, but in most cases you want to show it to somebody is going to give you just cold hard truth about your work, so that you can take out stuff that shows potential weakness.
Yeah.
So, so I'd say that's step one, is like to kind of step back, analyze your work objectively, and just start siphoning out the stuff that shows weakness.
And
And I think, sorry, you're probably gonna
no, it's
what?
good. It's okay. I was going to change the subject, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and with the weakness thing, just keep in mind like what Corey always talks about, risk mitigation with businesses, and that's exactly what you're doing with portfolio. You want to mitigate risk for the client, because if you're showing in your portfolio something, and don't get me wrong, you can't expect perfection in your work, so there's always going to be like slight little flaws.
Yeah.
But if there's something where it's like really obvious, like, oh, you don't know foreshortening, and that's in there,
Yeah.
um, and then you're applying for a job that requires you to know foreshortening, just think about what you're saying to that employer when you include that like badly foreshortened arm in your portfolio. Then you're basically saying, hey, if you hire me some like on anything that requires foreshortening, I'm going to drop the ball on it.
Yeah.
Um, so that's something to, yeah. So
And
what was the transition?
there's something that I think a lot of people who have experience assume everybody understands. But my experience with students is that I think this is a learned thing. I don't think it's an expected thing. Along those lines of risk, people do not hire you based on what you think you can do. They hire you based on what they've seen you do. And
Yeah.
so Dan Stiles, a gig poster artist, he does a ton of work for huge companies and stuff, but is mainly known for like his gig posters. He has this idea that I love to talk about it because it's talking about self plagiarization. He says basically companies that are risk adverse, they will see you do stuff and then they are like, hey, I want you to do stuff like that for me, and so they
Yeah.
want you to plagiarize your own work. And
Yeah.
it's obviously kind of a plan where they don't actually want you to do that, but what they're doing is it's saying like it's not a risk if they see that the work that you have done fits the work that they need done. Then they're like, I'm going
Yeah.
to hire this person to do that work. So a lot of times I think students and people that are just starting out, they think that money validates their work, and nobody cares actually. So
Yeah.
very few people care about like, oh, somebody paid you money to do that thing. They care about like, I need a thing. Have you done that thing? Oh, you've done a bunch of stuff for money, but none of it matches what I need. All right. And maybe the thing that they need is exactly what you want to do, but you're
Yeah.
waiting for somebody to pay you to do it or whatever. And
Yeah.
so you don't have it in your portfolio. So one of the biggest things that I think is important, and I want you to talk to this, Josh, is produce the type of work that you want people to hire you for, and make
Yeah.
a lot of it, make it good, and share it often, and build up your portfolio. It doesn't have to be client work. It just has to be good work so that somebody who wants to pay you to do that thing can see that you know how to do it and then hire you to do it. Otherwise, you're going to be like, look at all this stuff I hate doing.
Yeah.
There's a reason that I don't have graphic design work on my website. I can
Yep.
do it. I don't like it. I want people to hire me for my illustration and my animation and my my inking. And so that's the stuff that I show because that's the stuff that I want them. Now, if somebody comes to me and they offer me enough money to do from graphic design, I will do it. But I don't like it, and so I don't show that stuff. So what do you think of like building your portfolio? What should people be paying attention to in like
So
choosing the type of projects that they're going to use to include?
yeah. So I think what you're bringing up is really hits home for me because when I was first getting into illustration, I just kind of put up the best stuff in my portfolio just generically, and it was kind of across the board. And then I kept getting work in the educational industry, which at the time I really hated working in, and it just kept flowing in. And I realized it was because my portfolio had educational work in it,
Right.
and I kept getting vector art, and that's still what I do. I do primarily vector art for a living now, but for my own personal stuff and for freelance now, because I have like a pretty nice situation where I can be choosy about my clients. Um, I don't show most of that, so there are like thousands of of pieces of art that I've done in like that airplane diagram style for these books for Weldon Owen a couple years back, and I'll link to the books in my store section and stuff because I want people to be able to see some of the stuff I've done that's for sale, that's for from other publishers and stuff like that. But and I like supporting clients of mine. Like if somebody hired me to illustrate a book, I'd like that book to sell. Um, but at the same time, I'm not going to include it in my portfolio because I don't necessarily want that work. And if I were in a position where I needed that work, then what I would probably do is build a side secret site, right, that has that portfolio geared towards that industry.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're building a portfolio. You can have different portfolios for different industries, and I actually would say you should have different portfolios for different industries, because if you try to scattershot, you actually have the potential of watering down the impact of what you're presenting, and realize when you're presenting your portfolio that you're doing it with a very limited window of time. And so what Cory was talking about with clients want to see good work, they don't care about the extra stuff. They don't have time to care about the extra stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and also another thing for like an early artist, they also aren't necessarily going to care about the story. Like story is good for um, building a support base online
I
and a
haven't
fan
really
base online. So like the story behind like what the meaning of what you're making is to you, and all the thought that went into it and stuff like that. That's great for like a audience engagement.
Mm-hmm.
But for an a person who's just looking at aesthetics and that's it, like they are not going to care that this illustration was very meaningful to you, and like the long biography of the art, um, that's not gonna save a bad picture. And so that's the thing to keep in mind. Like I said, with like the foreshortening and that kind of thing, it's like if the story is not reading instantly with the graphic, then that's going to be problematic too. But I agree. Like, yeah, if you don't want graphic design work, don't put it in your portfolio, because I don't know if it's just a karma rule or something, but it's like if you put stuff you hate doing on your website, my experience and most creatives I know's experience is that that's the work you'll start getting. Like what you put out there is what you end up getting back. And so yeah, so that's the conundrum. Like, well, I keep getting hired to do touch-ups for, I'm trying to think of like industries friends of mine started in, like touch-ups for spa catalogs. Like I had a friend who that's that was like their first job illustration was like doing spa parts, like parts for spas
Oh, okay.
in like a kind of like CAD isometric mode kind of
The
style.
exploded view type thing, and
Yeah, which is like, some people love doing that like all day and could just do that all day. But for this friend, it was like a nightmare, and they kept feeling pigeonholed by it. And then they were like, "But it's in my portfolio." So it was like the second they pulled it out of their portfolio, then like and put up the type of work they wanted to do, that's when they started getting the type of work they wanted to do. So, but that's the conundrum. So, how do you find time for it? And you do it exactly by starting something like the 48-hour art check. or just on your own motivation, like find little mini projects that will allow you to do the style you want to do. Because I think everybody kind of waits for permission with art, and you don't need permission to kind of work the way you want to. You don't need like Mr. Moneybags to come and be like, here you go, sir, paint the Sistine Chapel. You can start your Sistine Chapel today, and then like, that when you put that up, if that's the work you want to get, at least you're projecting that you can do it.
Okay, real quick, I want to cut this short. There's 11 minutes to go in the Kickstarter, and they are having a Kickstarter wrap party on Mike's channel. Do you want to? Let's go. Let's go jump into that. I'm gonna post a
Yeah.
link to that, and I'll keep streaming here. So I'm just gonna put up. I'm gonna put up a countdown timer just for a minute while Josh and I jump into that other hangout. You can stay here, or you can go jump on Mike's. So just one moment, everyone, while I do this.
Sneak up on
In
you.
the 48-hour.
Did sneak
Yeah,
up on
you
him.
guys are live on my channel as well. So
Oh, really?
What?
Nice.
How does that work?
magic.
Yeah.
It's just
Sorcery.
crazy magic.
See,
And Josh should
Cory's-
be joining us, and we've got about 7 to 10
minutes.
people that are watching on my channel. So
Hey, cool.
Hello, people on Cory's channel. So we were just saying Mike needs to do an ebook about the crowdfunding secrets, and then you need to do one about the live broadcasting secrets, and the two of you then can start going on tours together. So like,
Book signing.
if
signings and,
Mike
little-
wants to edit and write my ebook on that portion, then I would be glad to put my name on it.
And then you guys could you could go to conventions and writers
You could do a TED
conventions.
Talk.
Yeah, you could do all kinds of stuff. You could have a Udemy course or whatever. See,
Oh, that's
you guys
funny.
could join your forces and then
That's
corner
not a
the
bad
market.
idea. You see these guys that make this self-help books or how-to books. They can make a whole career off of
Yes,
one
they
thing.
can. There's good money in that.
Yeah.
So the only problem is when people do it on platforms that change like every 6 months, then it becomes way too much work to keep updating your books. And then it's worth really, because you have to constantly be working, because every time the service changes, you have to, oh nope, they don't do this anymore, now they do this. Oh. So
I really like just doing YouTube videos, because then I can just talk, and when I'm done talking, I turn the video off, and that's way easier than writing a book.
you could just have somebody transcribe it.
Yeah, there you go.
You can do one of those. They have services for that, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty cheap.
They're called editinggenie.com, and they're run by someone named Karen Bonfiglio.
Oh, really? You do that?
I would.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a very little, actually, I don't talk about it at all because I haven't really, but yes, I have a website for my editing services. And
Cool.
I would do but I don't really promote that. But I am now, apparently, to all 7 of Cory's followers.
Way to the pinnacle. That is awesome. Oh, by the way,
Use your services. I'm always doing audio dictations for everything I write, and it's like I hate transcribing it. I hate
You
it.
do? I like to type, so
So
I like to type.
I'll type it and clean it up for you, Mikey.
Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh.
See, that negates my big worry with that, which would be like the the translation of all the likes and ums,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
which audio does not sound as bad as just in text. Like in a book, that would be brutal. Because if it were a quote, I could just imagine every other word saying like
Yeah.
You got to start tallying it up.
Yeah.
I repeat myself a lot. Like I will start a sentence, not figure out what I'm going to say, so I just say the same thing over again until I'm like, "Yep, that's the end of the sentence." I said the beginning 3 times, but that's fine.
That's funny. That's what I kind of do too, and my husband can't stand it. It's like, are you ever going to get to a point, Karen? You've already said this. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
It's the curse
so
of
we-
the long-winded. I relate. Yeah. All right, Corey. What's
I was
up?
just going to say we've got 6 minutes to go. We got 6
Yeah, we
minutes
do.
left in this
That's
thing.
right.
Are we going to do like a who's got the 10-second timer we can all count down to?
I have a 1 minute timer,
Yes.
but
I have a 15-minute timer.
Somebody put the 1-minute timer up on their
It
screen.
counts down on the Kickstarter page. It counts
Oh,
down.
does
Oh,
it?
it does it? Oh.
That's
Well, then I
amazing.
will-
How do you-
The last minute.
What?
The last minute goes to seconds.
Does it really? Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
cool. Then I will just pull that up
It's
for the
it's
people.
already going down.
Yeah, for the people on my channel, we'll just watch it. I'll just put that on the screen like this once we're good to go. So yeah.
Cool.
That is awesome.
I'll just hold it in place.
So I happened to see you guys doing this as we were art checking, and I told Josh, I said, "Hey, let's jump over." So I don't know what you've been talking about. What have you guys been talking about?
I think we just went through all of our stories.
We talked about somebody's biopsy. We talked about somebody's move.
That was the show over.
Yeah. And then we talked about everybody's stories and how great we all were. Because we all are great. So you guys, quickly, 30-second pitch. What is your story about Cory?
Good idea.
My story is about Captain Ahab resurrecting Ishmael and the Pequod to go hunt a giant narwhal and change the polarity of the Devil's Triangle.
Oh my gosh. And have you ever had a biopsy? Have you ever had a biopsy?
I don't believe I have a biopsy. I've had some really weird things, but I haven't had a biopsy. I had laser go in through my pupil and sew my retina back on. Does that
No,
count?
that doesn't count, but that's still cool.
That is
All right.
pretty
What
awesome.
about some of your weird stuff on 48?
Now, Joshua, what is your 30-second story? Your 4-page second story about in 30 seconds?
It's about a dragon who's really selfish and learns how to share with a kid named Benjamin.
Your elevator pitch is so much
Aw.
more concise than mine.
Yeah, you got to use up your 30 seconds, man.
Still got 20 seconds.
Okay,
like
so
your pitch
then I
with
can
the
ask
book
Corey
like
the
this.
question: do you have a robot eye now? Because that would be really rad.
I do not have a robot eye, but
Darn it.
I tore my retina in half twice, and they
Ew.
told me that if I tear that retina in half again, they will have to take my eye out, freeze it, wrap a belt around it, and tighten it until the retina pops back into place. And they actually have a thing that sits on your nose and your ear that's called an eye cup, where it's just a little ledge where your eyeball sits while that's happening.
Ew. Oh my
And
God.
so now
Don't do that.
now I wear sunglasses a lot because I'm constantly terrified that my right eye is gonna just I'm gonna have this frozen out
Back our
of skull
Kickstarter,
surgery.
his eyeballs gonna pop out of his head at any moment.
Yeah, that's true.
He needs your help, everybody. Please.
Then you'll
Getting
get a cool eye
haircuts and
belt.
freezing eyeballs all over the place.
2 minutes to go, you guys. 2
Most
minutes
terrifying
to go.
thing I've
2
heard all
minutes
week.
left.
to link onto your eye belt.
Oh my gosh. I want to look
Yeah.
that up right now.
That is
Okay.
hardcore. I will say though, the benefit, if anything
sharing
happens,
pictures.
is you get a rad eye.
Eyeball cup.
I'll tell you that the second time that I tore my retina in half and had that surgery, I was in middle school and had to wear an eye patch around in 7th grade for a week and a half. That was fun.
Now, this is all about frozen eye syndrome and edible gummy eyeballs and frozen corneas and can eyes freeze and stuff like that.
Great.
So I'm guessing if it ever happens, we'll see it on 48-hour art check. You'll be
I
like,
will.
so I wanted to make sure to keep it going, so
I will live
here in the
stream
document.
that for sure.
Eyeball cup. Medical.
Theme for the next anthology is crazy eyeball stories.
It just went to the seconds counter.
Don't look it up, Karen. No good can come from this.
There we go.
Okay,
I love-
seconds.
we've got our
Uh-oh.
seconds countdown. We're at 100 seconds left.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Whoa.
Exciting, you guys.
Can you zoom in on this?
Is anyone gonna hop in the next like 90 seconds? Come on.
No, I
So
don't
we're at $5,309 with 159 backers and 80 seconds left.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Super
All the
curious.
others are lurking. They're just watching us.
Close. Come on, somebody.
If you are watching this right now, this big green button that says back this project, that's where you click.
No pressure.
Oh. Last little.
Ignore the timer. No pressure.
Oh my god, that's really
Uh-oh.
stressful. What is that?
Is that Scott
Oh.
playing a guitar?
Now they're red.
Oh my gosh.
We're in the
it's
red.
red. I've
It's
never seen
turning
this
red.
before.
Wow.
That's really kind of fun.
Slightly different time. I got 44. Oh,
Me
now
too.
40 seconds left now.
Yep. I'm just gonna watch
Oh
Cory's.
boy.
if you back
Yeah.
in the last 20 seconds.
Hey, we're still at 159. Do you guys think we'll hit 160?
No, but it would be cool if we did.
It would be cool.
It's like one more person.
back in the last 5 seconds.
If anybody backs, I'll send you a postcard in the next 17 seconds.
Do it. Oh my gosh.
I'll make you.
guys.
I'll draw a commission for you for free and send it to you.
All right, Cory, you got to start counting down so we can all watch the
Okay.
same screen.
6, 5, 4, 3,
Three,
2, 1, 0.
1.
Hey! Oh, there's confetti.
Yay! Oh, look, it had little fireworks go off on the page.
I didn't know there'd be confetti.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's
We
exciting.
get fire.
Confetti, that's
Yeah,
cool.
Confetti.
Wow, that is so cute and nice. Oh,
That
it's
is
so
amazing.
nice.
It's
We
funded.
funded.
It is now a funded project.
It's
All right,
over.
so how do
Yeah.
I get this to? I want this to fit on the screen again.
Now we get to buy all
Finally.
the colors that we were
That
talking
was crazy. We made a book.
Congratulations, you guys. Woohoo!
Well done, everyone.
Our backers rock.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, everybody.
Scott.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Good
We
stuff.
did it.
Thanks, everyone.
Mm.
Thank you.
Oh,
Well,
so
We had a lot of love from a lot of other people help getting the word out on this too who weren't in the book. We had a lot of help out there.
Yeah, it was cool.
funded in the first roughly 24 hours.
It
Was
was
that like
20,
26,
25 and a half hours is when it funded.
yeah.
not bad?
That caught
And then
me
you guys
off guard.
almost gave me a heart attack because I didn't think we'd reach the stretch goal for the poster, and I was gonna cry.
But
Right.
did
Yeah.
And we did, and so that was
We
yay.
did.
Didn't we
So-
almost hit all the stretch goals?
almost.
Which one didn't we get?
The digital sketchbook.
Oh, that was. I was excited about that one too.
Yeah.
How far?
Yeah, apparently we needed another $500.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I guess you should have streamed more, Cory.
I know. Sorry, trying to
Let's
figure
stream
out.
your eyeball thing.
Yeah, right.
Last
I can't find it. I'm bummed because today I got to watch somebody squeeze a giant hematoma of blood clots out of somebody's leg, and I on the internet, and I can't see an eyeball cup thing medical
this
procedure.
Was 1992, so they may have come up with a better procedure.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
They use a hammer now.
Well, maybe they use like some kind of like laser treatment now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Enuclealization is the removal of the eye that leaves the eye muscles and remaining orbital contents intact.
That's pretty cool, though. Your eye is like a world traveler.
What? His eye? Why?
Well, because it's been, more locations than most people's. Like, usually eyes stay in the house, So his eye's just an adventurer,
Oh,
Trying to be this is a bit that I want to at some point develop is like the terrible optimist. It's like, somebody's like, the trade center fell, and they're like, well, on the plus side, we have like clear property now. So like just that person who's like, whenever it's inappropriate, is super optimistic.
Perfect comic strip.
Still
You can start with a hashtag somewhere. Terrible optimist.
Make a fun Instagram comic, actually.
But so if you were
Nice
gonna
short form
freeze
thing
the
after your long form.
Aw.
maybe like for a week, I'll just do terrible optimist comics.
You should. That'd be
No,
funny.
Josh, what
And then,
Josh, what you
and
need
then
to
make
do
a
is
Kickstarter for it.
Yeah,
Josh,
like
you
the
need to do
three-
terrible optimist animations. That's what you need to do.
Ooh, maybe that's our side project.
Yep.
Ooh, maybe.
Just
We're
build
thinking
it.
about doing Corey's trying to talk me into doing something more time consuming than comics.
Corey, you're a bad man.
I just don't think Josh spends enough time doing comics. I think, there's harder things out there that he should
Oh,
tackle.
I
You should be
see.
comic harder.
Oh man.
Poor Josh. Josh has a kid who's young and demands lots of time. He can't be doing animations.
I've got an 11-month-old and a 9-year-old.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Corey's got me beat on that one.
But Corey, aren't you a freelancer?
No, I teach.
Oh, you teach.
Yeah.
So, but okay. Well, yeah, you're busy too, but you know what I'm saying. Do you work from home or do you have to go to a day job?
I go to a day job.
You just
Oh,
have,
you go
like,
to a day
tons
job
of
too.
Vacation time.
So,
is-
Josh,
yeah.
you're just not as hardcore as Corey. You're just gonna
No.
have to
I know.
gonna have to step it up. Apparently, is the
No,
deal.
I know.
In all actuality, Josh is about 2.5 times more hardcore than I am. If we're
Is that right?
if we're
He is
comparing
a punk.
hardcoreness. He's literally in a punk. He's literally in a punk band for one.
Oh, that's true.
It's really
He is
hard.
hardcore.
You
And then
guys just box.
For two, he commutes an hour one way every day.
And he works.
Today
and he
mine
takes
was
care of
4
his
hours
family,
because of a semi truck.
and he does his comic. Okay, yeah, he's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, and I live 0.6 miles from my front door to my office door.
Is that right?
I've tracked it. That includes the stairs. So
Really? How many steps is that?
I
How
don't
many
know.
steps on you? Okay, do you have like do you have an iPhone or whatever? Get your health tracker, turn the health thing on so it says your steps, and then you can just check it.
Okay,
I need to
I'll have
get
check
hip
next
to
time.
that health tracking thing. I feel like an old man with that because I.
Yeah, but it's already on your phone. You don't need to get the Fitbit or whatever. You just can have it on your phone and keep your phone in your pocket. And
Yeah,
it'll
but
do
I
it for you.
just I don't understand any of the smartphone stuff, and I start sounding like a grandparent with that kind of thing. Like my son is the person. He's 5, right?
Yeah.
When he was 4. He showed me how to sync his iPad to the television. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Wait, how did you do that?" And he's like,
Maybe
"What?"
you spend too much time doing comics, Josh.
Karen, have you seen the size of the paper that Josh works on?
It's because my
What
eyesight.
size paper is he working on?
I'm just gonna be an old man.
What size?
What?
So most people work 11 by
Old man
17.
Josh.
You got to talk, Josh,
Is
so you
that
can see what you're doing.
Oh yeah. So it's a very large sheet of paper.
Is that all one sheet, or do you
What the heck? Is that 20? What is that? What size is that?
I just did it because it scales pretty well to 8.5 by 11, which is the size. I don't want it to be standard size comic. I want it a little bigger.
Why?
19 by 24. Because there's a lot of reasons. I got really super into old timey comics and was like, this format's kind of stupid. For some art, for most art it works great, but why does the book have to be that, and then
It doesn't.
trade is going to be 6 by 9, which scales okay to comics, but still it's not quite. So anyhow,
It all was arbitrary too. Not quite arbitrary. It was all because of cost that it became size, because they could get so many issues out of the sheet.
So you're working on a 1924 piece of paper that you then portrait, and halfway down the middle, it's a spread of 2 sheets.
No, that's one page.
no, it's just one page. So part of that came from so I went to this thing years ago called the the Masters of American Comics. It was a really cool like art show, and it had like original Art Crumb and like Art Spiegelman, and it went like all the way back to like original Kirby pages. And I was looking at these pages, and most of the artists I really admire that get a ton of detail work huge. Like Chris Ware works larger than this. He works like on like those sheets of bristle that like when you're at the art store you have to go to the I'm forgetting what it's called. It's like I have one in my garage, but it's like a flat file. You have to go to like a flat file to pull out like the size, those big sheets of like nice bristle. He'll do a page on that.
Oh my
God. I was like, oh, that's my problem. I'm just like working. I like working big. That's like my favorite thing. So, it's like working small.
So when you,
how
much detail do you lose then when you reduce it for print, or do you not lose any?
It's not. It actually. The thing is, you have to manage your weights of pen. Like regardless, even if you're working like half that size, like you have to figure out like what the smallest weight that can replicate is going to be. When you reduce it down, because otherwise you're just wasting resources and time, right? So it's like I've figured out that like the smallest that'll translate is like a 1, and so like if I'm getting smaller than 1, like a 0.005, like I'm noodling for no reason. So that's pretty much it. But it is weird. I mean, it's weird to work that big, but I like Harriman worked that big, and like a lot of guys I really dig like worked that big. It's kind of, I arrived at it the same way I arrived at like using more traditional materials, where like originally it was just like a Sharpie, and I was working on like like manga paper and stuff, just like whatever works, or like throwaway 8.5 by 11 paper. And then like eventually upgraded to bristle and was working on like comic paper. And then
all right, so when are we going to go to California to see your art show of your original comic book pages all up in a gallery?
Well, you're what, four pages away from finishing this book, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty close. I think I've got about 4 pages. Yeah, so it's not where I wanted it to be. I thought I'd be done in May, but I guess if like you calculate years into it, it's not that.
Well, it's a few more weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks, a couple months isn't that big a deal.
You should do a show though. You should find a gallery, because you've got how many pages? How many pages do you have?
Like probably.
Yeah, and they're so big and everything. People would probably love to do that in an indie friendly gallery.
Yeah, total it'll be like 100 something. So
yeah.
Oh, have a show, and then somebody needs to go, and then you guys need to live stream it, because we won't be able to go. I won't be able to go to California, so somebody will need to live stream it.
Yeah, I might do that. I mean, I think that's part of the plan, because I haven't been selling any pages. The only catch is I don't know if I'd want that to be a tier for like the Kickstarter, but then that would kind of take away from doing the show.
Your show. You have to have the show first. You have to have the show first.
That's true. I also have this like nerdy collector thing where it's like I like having them all in sequence, and like selling one kind of sucks, because then it's like, well, but then I don't have page 2. But I know I can sell them for probably a little higher, because they're actually lettered. I think that'll like up the appeal, because it's like you can like you actually get a literal page out of the story. There's like nothing in it that's not in the book,
So what if you like did the gallery show as a promotion to like just before your Kickstarter? So anyone who's like, I want to buy this, be like, well, you'll be able to, starting at the first of next month. The book's going into print, and you'll be able to purchase there.
That's a really good idea.
Get them on the email list.
Yeah.
Imagine printing the book at scale.
That'd be fun.
I've got stuff like that.
Yeah, I have a lot of books like that.
Graphics might do that.
Well, how do you get through the gatekeepers, though? That's the thing. Because I have kind of an acquaintance who does stuff through Fantagraphics, but he self-published for like 10 years before they put his stuff out,
Do like one of these books?
Ooh.
Yeah, those are nice.
Just, this is like the full page.
I couldn't see it. Corey, hold up the thing. You're not showing on my screen.
Oh, sorry. It's just a giant
Oh,
reproduction of the actual artwork of. This is Frank Miller's Daredevil, but they do stuff like this.
One of these pretty ones that would be ideal to do something like where you have like the like cool stuff and like a wraparound and French paper. But
sounds like you have some Kickstarter goals.
Money to put a book like that together.
Well, that's why you have a crowdfunding Kickstarter.
Yeah.
This is what'll happen.
You have that option.
This is what'll happen after you're famous, and like everybody's trying to decide whether you're a hack or not. Then somebody's going to come out and say, "No, he invented that genre." He's not a hack if he invented it. Anyway.
Oh,
that's funny. Well, then you can't sell the original because then somebody else. You don't have to track down all the people if you want to like do that. Like you want to have the original. Well, I guess if your scans are high quality and safe, I guess it doesn't really matter.
No, they photograph these. They actually go and they hunt down all of the pages, and so the pages get collected by different people. Like I've got pages behind me, and then when they do one of these books, they find who bought them, and it takes them a while to track them all down, and then they photograph them because you can see like it's yellow. You can see like tape, and you can see like the whiteout, and the whiteout has like a shadow and stuff, so you can see like the depth of this. Anyway, I'm nerding out on this. I love this type of stuff.
That's really cool.
It's cool.
Sounds like a smart.
All those old collections of like Frank King and like George Harriman and some of those old like newspaper comic strips. The people who put those books together, sometimes they have to like hunt down just like a newspaper that ran it, and then like scan the newspaper because they don't have the original, and so like they have to doctor the newspaper so that it looks better, and like it's a whole undertaking with those things because like cartoonists at the time, like even the old pulp painters too, they always had that problem because they used to like paint on both sides of the bristle board, and so like the paint got destroyed, and they'd sell them for like $10, to people. Like tracking down and trying to make a thing for that, like that's like the only more nightmarish editing I can think of than what Mike just went through.
Luckily Mike wasn't doing anything stressful at the time, like moving.
Yeah,
right.
It was really fortunate. Yeah,
it's good you didn't have like a wedding and moving and like all of these like some of the most stressful events of your life all combined with.
What are the top 5? It's like marriage,
Gold
death,
star for Mike.
Moving, public speaking.
Luckily,
getting a new job. Getting a job.
Screws under the fingernails.
Losing or getting a new job. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much all.
Yep. Well, and you did go through all that.
Losing access to like a core part of your body that you require to do your job, like that didn't happen either. Like none of this happened while.
Oh yeah. Mike, my gosh.
So when we're talking about hardcore, I think Mike, like,
working on it.
I think Mike is the most hardcore out of all of the hardcores.
No.
I'm gonna have to go throw my leathers on and ride around on my motorcycle just to up my game a little bit.
Did you almost get like hit by a tornado while you were trying to ride your bike the other day? Is that what I saw on the Facebooks? What was that?
Yeah, that was
Corey.
Yeah, it's been crazy weather. We had a tornado warning, and then it was hailing. Luckily, I barely missed the hail, but there was standing water. There was standing water on the road, which is kind of scary. I mean, I'm not going that far or that fast, but I have gotten caught in a hailstorm. I have a video if you haven't watched it. It's pretty funny. I have gotten caught in a hailstorm on my bike on the freeway. I did 900.
Really?
I did 962 miles in 27 hours on my bike, and I almost died 3 times. So yeah, it was one of them.
Corey.
Well,
that's why, like when I'm in my sedan, I'm just like,
your sedan.
That's too bad.
Whereas I'm like, I need to stop at the gas station so that I can wrap my shins in newspaper, so that I quit getting pelted with these sharp balls of ice that are coming at me at 95 miles an hour.
Oh man,
Oh my gosh.
show tomorrow at a trucker bar, and like, well, maybe they aren't that hardcore. No, they're probably that hardcore.
It depends. I mean, if it's like the lawyer who throws his leathers on and rides around town on Saturdays. Yeah.
It's like it's gonna be those, because I mean, like that's like the right wing contingent of the area I live in, which is like one of the only. And we have a bunch of songs that are like anti-Trump. So I think this is gonna be a really interesting show tomorrow.
That'll be fun.
Oh,
Man.
okay. Well, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt.
Just
So,
Like there's the
do you
bikers
ever?
who
Do you have? Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say there's the bikers who only ride in fair weather. Then there's the bikers who like they have I met one time I just lived on the road for a little while. I was just driving around and I just slept on the beach and bathed in rivers whenever I came across one. I was just driving and did that for
When you were in Amazon, or like, sorry, whenever you just sound like back in my barbarian days.
right. I intentionally try. It was my version of Walden Pond. I'll list everything I had on my bike. I had short stories from Joseph Campbell. I had my 357 snub nose revolver. I had my camera. I had a bar of soap. I had one extra T-shirt, one extra pair of underwear, and a bedroll. And
no toilet paper?
no, I mean I wasn't in the middle of nowhere, so like I would stop to eat places and I'd just go there. Or
No
whatever.
bourbon?
No, I don't drink. So,
Right.
but I met what's that?
Bourbon.
Yeah.
Because if you had bourbon and like just some weird drugs, like you're straight on the road at that point, you know, like a Kerouacian.
Right. But I've never had a drop of alcohol, so I don't even know what it would be like.
You're not missing.
But
totally believable.
I mean, if you count cough syrup, you know, if I get a cold, I'll take some NyQuil and be unconscious for 20 hours.
Okay, well, don't drink any kombucha then. Don't drink any kombucha because there's alcohol in that too. And then if you've never had any, you might get a little loopy.
Yeah.
So don't drink kombucha and drive.
If that cough syrup has that DM on it, be careful, because that was like high school shenanigans from my.
Oh my gosh.
Robo trip.
Oh yeah, see, Mike knows.
No,
Josh, I was only going to ask you, are there any videos on the webs of you and your punk band performing so we could experience the radness of your hardcoreness?
There's a couple.
Or do you guys?
Yeah, I post some stuff to Instagram too, but I'll probably like this one just because it's like it's like a whole. I've never really played a festival kind of thing, so it might be fun to do like a little like thing of it.
You should just set up a tripod and just put your phone on it and just stream it.
Yeah. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Maybe do like a live stream or something.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but let me know because
Yeah.
I want to check it out. Okay, so like put it in the group somewhere or something. DM us or something.
If you've listened to the intro music during that animation that I did on the 48-hour art check, that's Josh's band, No Saboteurs.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just having fun. It's literally a way to get free beer.
Anything for a beer.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
Funny.
I don't know, like you gotta have something to kind of blow off steam outside of just art. So it's like another thing where I can make stuff, but it's like this one's literally just for fun. Whereas with
You
art,
guys blow off steam with art? Wow, you mean it's not full of angst and like stress and horror when you work? That's
Oh, hey, it's Gaz.
he made it.
Hey!
Hey.
I hate to disrupt all the talking about motorcycles, but holy crap we did it, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, go ahead. Keep your talking.
No, that's awesome.
Now we had moved on to angst.
Yeah.
Yeah, art angst only because apparently I don't know how to have fun with art.
Oh,
But
neither
that's
do
another
I.
topic for
I'm
another
with you.
day.
Art is not
Yeah.
fun.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Art is a tedium that sucks up all your free time where you want to be doing fun stuff and you do art instead.
Yeah.
And you're compelled, and you can't just not do it. You have
Correct.
to do
You
it.
feel
There's
bad
something in
about
the
yourself
power
if
of
you
art.
don't do the thing you don't like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
True.
I
The
think
power of art compels you, and
it's
then you
like you
start
see the
puking
result.
green soup.
Yeah, you see the result and you forget like what a nightmare it is to do, and then
I-
you do it again. I think we just have like I think all of us have memory problems because we're like, well, that was cool when I worked on that book and got the book, and then you're like in the process of making the book, and you're like, what the hell am I doing?
I look at pages I did from previous issues of my book with like big backgrounds or stuff, and I'm like, who drew that? I didn't. Now I have to replicate that same background in this.
Mhm.
Why would I do? Why would they do that? And to me,
Yeah.
I get so
Yeah.
mad it passed me.
Or future you, like where I'm at is like future me is like, why did I establish that thread like 70 pages ago and now I have to conclude it? Like, thanks a lot, you complicated jerk. It's like,
Well, I
That's
am
funny.
happy with my writer self because I'm rating at a very low level where it's just like I wrote the whole thing and I don't change it. So good, bad, or indifferent, I don't stress about the writing. I'm more worried about the art, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
I hate the art so much that I couldn't possibly hate the writing too, you know.
I feel like
See, guys, I got you beat there. I hate both. So.
Oh, good for you. See, you're really doing it.
I know. I know. It's not
I
good.
haven't gotten bitter yet, so I'm good.
Oh, you'll get there.
You're only,
Actually,
wait,
not
well, you
everybody
gotta
gets
get
there.
your late. Yeah, only us people that have got some neuroses.
Yeah, I
So.
think I started bitter, honestly. I think like even just starting it, I was like, I think the second I opened the can of worms of comics, I was like, this is really hard and I hate it, but I love it. It's like,
Yeah.
I definitely got tricked because I got seriously into thinking I could do comics in the early 90s when anybody could. When somebody that just
Yeah.
drew pinups and big spiky armor and couldn't draw backgrounds or perspective could make $1 million at Image for that year,
What?
you know? And that was the year I was graduating high school. And I'm like, I got this. And then Image fell apart and the world came to its senses and was like, no, you have to know how to draw. And no one's making $1 million anymore. And I was like, oh. Okay.
And now Image is like really,
Yeah, at the
really.
time.
Now Image has got really high quality content.
Yeah.
Too,
Right.
So
Yes.
now you can't
Yeah.
even go to Image anymore unless you're like kick ass mofo.
Yeah.
yeah.
I had like
Yeah.
$2,000
That's okay.
at the start.
We don't need them.
I don't know if that's true.
By ourselves.
You guys, you don't need no stinking Image because you guys are indie creator gods and you just crowdfunded a second book, man. Yes.
Oh, man.
So
I do enjoy
right.
this kind of book where you do 4 pages and then there's a gigantic book. Like that
Yeah.
level of work pays off really well.
All this
I agree.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much book.
Like when they
That's a
say
thick-
you
Oh,
should
look at
do
that.
a book a year, I could do this book a year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah,
As long
especially
as-
when Mike's
like,
doing all
no.
the legwork. Yeah, you do it.
Corey,
Mike is already
Edit it, dude.
Hey,
Mike is
Corey, I
already
think
seeing
your,
the future.
your screen is all jacked up. It looks like you're screen sharing, but you've got like window and window and like
yeah,
other
I'm
stuff going on.
I'm live on my channel too, and so on
okay.
on Mike's
This
channel.
is literally what I see whenever we do the 48-hour art check. I'm looking at like 50 images, like a small thumbnail of Cory, and trying to kind of engage with that tiny thumbnail.
Yeah, if anybody wants to know what the 48-hour art check actually looks like, this is it. It's just a nightmare collage of 15 windows open. Yeah. But apparently, Gaz, you've solved the problem that I need to solve, which is Discord.
Discord. Yeah, Airzuki, my tech advisor, helped me out with that one. I could off camera, I could give you some pointers, but
yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Just make sure when you write the ebook, Mike and Cory, that you credit Gaz and his tech guy in the credit section. He's about to share with you.
We'll all go.
You guys should call it the 10 steps or the 5 steps, something like that.
I gotta go get my magnifying glass to see Cory.
Right. Yeah, and
Funny.
just imagine a pasty white guy that smiles. That's it.
You're right.
That's half the people on this panel right now.
Right. Yeah. Except I live in Idaho, so I have the right to be pasty.
Imagine a potato.
This is what I'm not looking forward to tomorrow. It's called No Pants Fest, so we aren't allowed to wear pants, and I never not wear pants, so I have like my legs are gonna blind people. It's so bad.
Get some spray bronzer and put it on really quick.
Are you allowed to?
Yeah.
Please,
Orange musician.
Josh, go to Hot Topic. Buy the loudest pair of leggings that you can.
I was tempted.
Gotta go.
I ended up
Good idea.
with, like short camo shorts, but like I was like this close to just being like, screw it, I'm wearing a dress because I did that in my youth. We used to play like there was like a local battle of the bands, and it was like at that time when, do you guys remember that era of like new metal and Fred Durst and all that nonsense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Forgot
like
about it until
there were all
now.
these like new metal guys, and like they were all like macho and stuff, and we got on the stage like all wearing dresses, and my bandmate had like written in glitter like Pixie on his shirt, just to like, not the Pixie, just Pixie, just to like mess with the people there, and they got furious. It was hilarious.
That's hilarious.
That was like, pretty amazing that like clothes could make people so angry.
I went to a
Wait, real quick in
Goldfinger.
chat, guys. We're
Yeah.
ignoring chat. Victor Rodriguez has said a few things, but most recently he said, "Who won the competition on selecting next year's theme?" He wants to know.
Ooh, we don't have our tech guy
Yeah.
right now, but as it stood before, it was Scotto Green. So
Yeah.
unless Cory pulled ahead in the last day or so,
I was 16 behind. I don't know if I could make it up
Okay.
because he wrote a song and sung it
What?
live on Instagram.
No way,
I don't
Song?
think I
I
think I
missed
could top that.
dude.
oh man,
I think
Well, there was
that.
sort of unofficially he's won, but wasn't there also some secondary factors? Like in
Yeah,
addition to just the raw data, there was like other stuff that was going to be factored in somehow. I thought.
I thought like actual sales were gonna factor in, but I don't know.
yeah, we had no way.
How you can't, but we can't count that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no way to
Yeah.
actually tell.
I witness you, Victor. Well, yeah. So unofficially, it's Scott O. Green, but that could potentially change.
Potentially,
Unofficially.
but he's got a
I think Gaz is
good
looking for a
chance.
loophole to make it happen.
Oh no, I was in the middle. There's no way it was going to be me. I'm just leaving wiggle room in case we're wrong. I don't want things to.
I'm right there with Gaz. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I think I'm like pretty low on that list myself, so don't worry.
I'm pretty.
It's
low,
okay.
too. I was
I
almost
am like second to last.
Yeah.
I think I was second to last because I suck.
I just want everybody to
Yeah,
know
that's why.
that I fought
Yep,
the
exactly.
urge to game the system. So
Did you?
I didn't game the system
Well,
because
that's
I was
cool.
thinking. I was
Okay, well-
thinking
I
as-
totally did.
as Scott pulled ahead. I thought I could probably write a bot program to just click that link and change the IP address.
Naughty.
over
That's
and
not
over
gaming the
again.
system. That's just straight up cheating.
Naughty.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Naughty.
And I didn't do that,
That is
right?
diabolical.
All of my clicks are legit. So I was
Well,
just
here's a logistic thing I wondered. And I'll bring it up now that we're all done because I didn't want to muddy the waters in the middle of it. But the way it was set up is that we would go, the link would take you to the hundreds page, and then there was a Kickstarter button.
Yeah,
I wonder if that extra click in between may have cost us some sales or
Yeah.
views.
I agree.
That's been my concern the whole time.
Not
me too.
according to Robert.
Not according to
I asked
Robert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Robert, and he said no.
Yeah, but actually,
Me-
Well, the other thing is like, the only other thing is that if there was cookies that were tracking over, if people had visited different links and then they actually purchased, I mean, but I guess it wouldn't really matter, but there could have been some cookie stuff if people didn't clear caches and stuff too.
Giving different
Maybe.
artists
I don't
credit
know.
for their view or whatever. That might be true.
Maybe,
My
but I
concern,
don't think.
my concern is less with who got credit for what, like, because that's just like a fun thing. It's not, I don't really care.
right.
Yeah,
I'm
doesn't matter.
more
No.
concerned if it's possible we lost sales because somebody said, "Let me click this." Oh, another click,
Oh.
and I mean, Robert said we didn't, but how would you know? Does that
Or-
does that mean that nobody went to the landing page that didn't then
But they'd be
continue the Kickstarter?
pretty like pretty uninterested or pretty not committed people, right? Like,
well, no,
That's
because
people,
Might
no,
that-
because check this out. If I'm like, oh, cool, this is cool, I'm gonna go check this out, and then I see like, oh, they've got an Instagram, I'm gonna go check that out. All of a sudden, that's bounce.
yeah.
Yeah, you might have forgot. And people have short attention spans, and you never know. I'm not saying it was a problem, and like I said, it wasn't worth bringing up earlier, but it is something I thought about, because every time I put the link up, I wanted to get credit for my name, my individual link, but I many times thought, maybe I'll just put up the Kickstarter without that, just to get people directly there, but I didn't. But I always said
personally, I only posted the Kickstarter link. Somehow people were going to my link though, because I got 27 people just added Mike at the end of it. Oh no, I did post it in the chat a couple times, but I was just messing with you.
So this is Mike's way of subtly letting you know that when it's tallied up, he's winning the contest.
This is like Christmas in 1985. Whenever somebody wouldn't write down the name of who was giving the gift, my dad would take credit. So any blank presents were always from my dad.
But only in 1985,
right?
Like that 1 year specifically.
That was when it started. It continues today. I'm just saying that any link that we can't identify, I think, is tagged as Mike's. Is that what we're saying?
Really, in my house, that's Santa Claus. Yeah. Santa Claus brings us unidentified packages.
But
I don't know. Apparently, you guys are all naughty.
I think
Dad is doing it.
I think that little game probably motivated more. Like I think it was a good motivator for people to post it and share.
Agreed.
It. So like I would think that the cost of the extra click was probably worth the return of having people kind of just for fun like participate.
Yeah. Well, Kickstarter generates unique links.
Right. Yeah. We had the option of doing that. That was the original idea, but because of the website, Robert felt that, and it actually worked. His idea worked. He felt that by driving the traffic to the website, we could kind of secure our status, I guess, in the SEO of Google. So now, if
he's right in the sense for the growth
comes up first. So
well, that's he's right for the growth of the website overall for the future, as opposed to the Kickstarter in the short term, because we do want all 100's traffic to start going there.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of a trade-off there, and it allowed us to still track everything, but not necessarily through the Kickstarter. But yeah, I thought about that too, because Kickstarter allows you to create like referral links, I think they're called. And so we did a couple of those for like some of the ads, but I don't think we even used any of those for the ads either. I think we generated some custom links for that too.
So is it like the brief pause of relief before the whole sending out?
Oh yeah, it's about to get crazy. My whole life is different now, and scheduling is crazy. So that's going to be fun to juggle all that.
Just wait for the sequel.
Get it done.
Are you guys unpacked?
We're slowly getting unpacked. It's a different space. It's a whole different space. So we got a lot to kind of acclimate to. We definitely need more furniture than we had before. Like a lot of people have like a hutch or something in their dining room that stores plates.
Other people have a Starsky.
Well, yeah, we have the hutch now. We're looking into the Starsky. Haven't been able to find one at a good price, but
they're really cool.
It is a small town, so hopefully it won't happen soon. But yeah, it's I'm still pretty much, I mean, you could kind of see what I'm working with here. I've painted all my furniture and stuff, but it's still all in boxes for the most part. But I got my desk set up now, so that's pretty fun.
That furniture thing though is a really unthought about issue, because like when we first moved here, my wife and I always did like tiny apartments, like little tiny apartments, and then like we pretty much put our stuff in and we're like, oh, this feels like one room. It doesn't, that's always a weird transition where you're like, oh, I got a couple rooms now,
Well, the weirdest part for us is like we have an extra room now. We got like technically like two, because we have a dining room now and my office space, but we have so much shit that was apparently in closets we didn't know that we had. So we have all these bins, and I don't know where to put these bins. So like I need furniture, because I'd rather just like fill the furniture than like have stacks of bins.
Yeah,
that's our problem right now.
Yeah,
but
it's a big problem to have.
It is.
So what are you saying, Mike? You need to sell some art prints. So people go buy Mark's art print so he can buy some hutch. He needs to buy a hutch.
Yeah. Well, actually, we've been getting some good deals on furniture. I bought a whole like dining room cabinet thing for like $20.
Yeah.
What? Where'd you find that?